Hey, what's up everyone? How's it going? This is part 2 of my TicTacToe exercise, and if you haven't already watched part 1, you can watch that right now. I advise that you watch it so you can understand the first part of this code. The link for part 1 should appear on your screen on the top right about now. And yeah, let's move on to part 2. What the goal here is our goal here is to check for any wins on the board. That's a crucial part of tic-tac-toe. There are 8 ways usually how anyone could win. Either vertically, horizontally, or on the diagonals. We'll use this conditional sequence to check for the status of the game. First, let's just recap a little bit. This is the nested list that represents the board. Each element is an empty square. Now this part of the code, what it does, it just takes in like the coordinate for the user, manages the turns, all that stuff. And now here, this part just it prints the tic-tac-toe board to the user so they could see what's going on. Right now here, we're going to begin with a for loop, and it's going to say for x in range 3, so x will change from 0 to 1 to 2. It's kind of like a dynamic way of doing it. X is going to be constantly changing. Now, if we want to check for the columns, then we can set these rows to be constant, 0, 1, or 2, and we're just going to be using the isSame function. Now, the isSame function, we defined that at the beginning. What it does is it takes in 3 arguments A, B, and C. If A is equal to B is equal to C, if A, B, and C are the same, but they're not all dashes, right? Then we're gonna return true, else we're gonna return false. So if they're not all dashes and they're the same, that means that someone has won, right? Like if A, B, and C are, let's say they represent the elements in like the squares in one row, right? So back here, let's say this is A, B, and C, and okay, let's make this X. So A, B, and C, and if they're the same and they're either X or O, then that player has won, right? Because all the squares in that column are the same. So we're gonna return true, and else if they're not the same or they're all dashes or they're all empty. Like this. They're all the same, but they're empty, so no one has actually won. Still, that's false. Now here, we're going to use that function, if is same, and we're going to pass in the arguments. TicTacToe 0, x, 1x, 2x. The x is just going to keep changing, and what this is doing is it's basically just simulating the scenarios and checking if any user has won vertically. Now, if no column is if no column has all 3 squares, all 3 squares being the same, all x's or all zeros, right? If they're like a mix of something or like dashes, for example, like here, x, x, and then dash, and then dash, right? If it's like that, then of course that's not a win for anyone. But if this is going to be O and O and O, then that column is winning for that. This represents that O has won, and this is we're checking this elif statement is just going to be checking for rows. It's the exact opposite. This time the rows are going to be the changing variable x, and the columns are going to stay the same. This is going to be checking for the diagonals, and this is going to be checking for the other diagonal. So this is going to be checking for the first diagonal, which is shaped like a backslash. You can think of it that way, like this. O dash dash, like that. So if this was, for example, if this was O and this was O, then O would win diagonally. This checks the other diagonal. And if any player has won, if any of these scenarios are true, then it's just going to exit to like basically, the exit function just breaks it just breaks the program. Ends the program right there. So this part will only run anything after this, right? anything after this, it's just only gonna run if nobody has won. A lot of times in TicTacToe, there's a tie, and a tie is just basically where nobody has won, but all the squares are occupied. So we're gonna check that. We have a variable scanner here. By default, it's true, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna for A in TicTacToe, for B and A being the row and B being the square. If B is empty, then scanner is false. That means if any square is empty, that means the game is still going. Someone still has to make a move to end the game or something like that. But if every square is filled, but again, and nobody has won. If every square is occupied, nobody has won. That means it's a tie. So it's gonna print tie. Again, exit the game. So this just goes through all the scenarios. One sec. Let me just do that. Okay. So let's make an example. So let's say X goes in the middle, and then O goes in like 1 1, and then 2 1. Let me just create this example for you guys. Yeah. So now, as you can see, it's gonna first check for columns. No columns are winning, but when it checks for rows, the first one, no. But the second one, every element in that row, every square is the same, and it's all X. They're all X's. So that means player X wins, and same thing for columns. Same thing goes for columns. So if, for example, we had to make this, let me think. Yeah, so 2 1, and let's say X does some kind of stupid move like 1 3, and now let's say it's 1 through 3 1. All right, so this way, when it checks for columns, it's gonna notice that that O has won the first column, right? So that means player 1 wins. And same thing goes for diagonals, same thing goes for ties. Let me just show you an example of a tie, just for your convenience. So let's say it's 1 1, and then 2 2, 3 3, right? And so actually ties are really common when both players know the strategy of the game. Then it's really you can almost tell that it's going to be a tie, because nobody's gonna win. So give me 1 sec here, guys. Let me just 1 2. Yeah, all right, there you go. So here nobody won, but every square is filled, so it's a tie. And yeah, that's it. That's how the whole this code may look like very bulky or something, but I hope you guys could understand the detail. And yeah, that was it for this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with all your coder friends so they can understand it too. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.